Yes, here we are. It's Happy New Year. It is 2022. We are here Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, and another Marketing Made Easy episode number 101. And I'm not even going to wait. I'm just going to bring my dude in like right now. I'm just going to bring him in because, man, I am super excited. Can you tell?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, this is
yeah,
so amazing.
yeah,
Thank you for another start of the year on this
yeah.
thing.
It's
Amazing.
pretty awesome how it ended up that 100 was closing out the year.
Yeah.
Just for
So
those
great.
those of us into the calendar societal measurement of stuff, it was just interesting that it just happened to have fallen on it. It was
And
cool.
secretly, we planned that from day one.
Oh, yeah, we did. We looked at the calendar and we said, no, let's start here because 100 weeks from now we'll be on episode 100.
And if you believe that, we've got some swampland in Florida we'd like to sell you.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Joey, because we've been talking about the 100 shows that started from, we don't even know how it started. We just like kind of hung out, watched each other, and then boom, here it is, 101. Hello there, Dan.
Hey,
Yes,
Dan.
another year begins. And a lesson that we've shared for people, if you start with the first one, then you can have the second one. It's like making a sale. Well, if I sold the first one, I know I could sell one. I can't get to 1 million until I sell the first one. And the
It's so
same,
true, right? Like, how do I get 100 episodes like those other guys? Well, let's start with number one, and then
yeah,
we'll tackle number two.
yeah,
You know, and that's what we talked about this before about goals and all that stuff. And I see a lot of people, which is one of my, I guess, kryptonites, is I can't really see a lot of times far out where a lot
right.
of people can. I'm really good at looking down at my feet and what I'm tripping over, and like, let me get to number two. But you're right. So you got to start with number one to get to
Yeah, I
number
was talking to a
101.
gentleman today who his superpower is he can see to the end. He just hasn't quite figured out how to take people step by step to get where he is.
Right, right.
And then there's those that can't see to get to the end because they either place and construct the obstacles to get in their way, or they just don't know how, which is why they're looking for people like us who have
Yep,
been there and know, more importantly, how to get there and what it takes on a daily basis. Pretty good, huh, Joey?
yep.
To get that, and what are the daily routines and exercises, activities that we engage in to get us to that point where we can pull
Wow.
up the flag.
Smooth, man. Just like smooth, man. I'm just gonna let you take it from here and tell us what today's episode is all about then. You suave and sophisticated, smooth broadcaster, you.
No, I'm just learning from the best here in you. I don't know what is it about
So we're talking about uh
daily routines,
daily success routines,
success.
daily
Yeah,
routines on how you move towards success. And just before we press the live button, I was like, well, you don't have any, do you, dude? And you're like, yes, I do. I'm like, oh, okay, so I think we're all going to learn something because I didn't know that you had daily success routines, and I'd love to hear them. Do you want to go
well,
first,
you
or do you
know
want to?
what they are. You just may not consider them success routines.
No, they are. I think that a routine is really important. I think let's establish that first. Do you agree with that? Obviously, you do because you do them. Um,
The,
and
the the question was for me to agree to was that routines are,
important.
so I 100% in agreement. Routines, yeah, routines are important. Hi, Petra, and they have to be flexible.
Okay, how flexible?
Well, it's again not flexible at all. Actually, flexible I meant from a standpoint of I don't have to do it every single day. A routine doesn't need to be every day. It just, like, for example, a routine of, we get together and do some Pomodoros. That's a routine that I get addicted to. I train my mind to train my brain that those focused periods of time with somebody accountable are the best creative periods for me when I have to get something done. That to me is a success routine,
Okay,
but not necessarily. I don't do that every single day
okay.
unless I have to get something done, I'll do it every day. You and I
Okay.
have done them for like a couple of 2, 3 days sometimes. I've done it with other people. So that's one of them.
Okay, because I come at it from another angle where like a routine is something you do every day.
Right,
And you can be flexible within that. So as you know, my routine, my morning routine,
right.
and those 3 hours of my day are the most important hours of all. And it's only because I've learned and discovered that for a whole bunch of reasons, our whatever you call it, the uh, circadian rhythm or something like that. I forget what it's called, but something rhythm of our natural body, 24-hour, somebody knows what I'm talking about here. Rhythm is best in the morning because you wake up with willpower, and you're not. If you waste that willpower to do anything, then the rest of your day is like chasing everything. So that's why I've protected that time when I wake up to do things that are going to lead me to success. One is reading, one is, maybe writing some stuff down or copywriting or what. Like that's where the flexibility comes in, is like, what
Mhm.
am I doing in that time? But it's the
Mhm.
most important things in those time that are protected, and it's done every day. And if I get pulled out of that routine, as you know, it will totally screw me
Oh,
up.
it's
And
a
totally,
scary thing when you get pulled out of that routine, Joey.
yeah, and
But it's
that's but
it's
it's important.
good.
Yeah.
It's good, it's important
Thank
because
you. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry,
yeah,
Petra. That's what it is. Circadian rhythm. Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Petra. It's you should be jumbled when your routine is messed with.
But you don't have that routine. Like you're telling me, like, so when you're doing, like, you have, what, I don't even know what they're called, like focus methods, or focus, or something that helps you do a specific thing that you get into, like the Pomodoros, but you don't do something every single day that's kind of routine.
Yoga.
Okay.
Yoga is every single day. It's a routine. It's planned. It's there. It's 90% of the time, there's 8 to 9 classes a week that I know I'm going to. And that is my most focused piece of my day.
Right.
It's a drug. You've been on calls with me where I'm like, gotta go, yoga class starts.
Right.
There's nothing more important as a routine for me every single day. That to me is non-negotiable. You know that.
So, but on the business side, you don't do anything in terms of of building the business routine.
No, I don't have something that every single day I do this particular thing
Okay. So I'd like
because
to hear from everybody
yeah,
else if you have a routine and like what yours is. And like it's not that I'm right or Scott's right or whatever. It's whatever's for you. I'm
no,
just saying that for me, and from Darren Hardy is another big proponent of this. There's so many of them, that the first 3 hours of your day is like the most important thing. And I've seen it happen even when I'm in my kind of routine where I throw myself out of routine because it's because of our brain. Like our brain is like, the three different types of brains. And if you have that monkey brain, the one that's like, oh, what's going on over there? What's going on? What's going on over there? Let me see my phone. Look at you totally throw yourself out of
yeah,
routine. So you got to stay away from those things, which is why I don't want to look at email. And I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect at it, but it's like as soon as I look at email in the morning, like I'm only going to check this one thing, but I'm not going to respond to it. I don't respond to it, but I've just activated that monkey brain, and actually, here we'll talk about this in a little bit too. But I've got this paper here that you can't see it, but this is my um, time study. I do these every now and then, and I'm challenging my whole mastermind group, my private clients, with the time study, and it's amazing to see like how many things that I do throughout the day that are totally distracting me because every 15 minutes I'm writing what I'm doing, right? And right on this page today, it's stupid things. I write down the one thing I'm doing, and then all of a sudden I'll go and I'll check email. And I'm going, what the hell am I doing? Like,
mhm,
why did I just go open my email and I write it down over here so I can see myself getting pulled away from a routine and seeing where my time goes. And that's why, I mean, that's a whole other discussion, but it's part of the routine in the day, right? So if I the whole point of me telling you that is because if I wake up and I've already start my monkey brain active, then this is what happens. Like I start doing something, and I'm going, wait a second, I'm just gonna check that email to see if Scott messaged me about
right,
anything, right? and it totally messes up the day. So for anybody listening to this, this is why it's so important to, in my mind, to protect that first 3 hours of the day on focus. And some people wake up and they meditate, they read, they journal, whatever it is, and you might wake up and do yoga or workout or whatever it is. And then you go to, and then the next part is the business part of it, which is, well, what's the most important thing that I need to get done today? And I start focusing on that, which is where the first Pomodoro comes in.
Right.
Anyway, I'll
And
let you run with that.
well, I fully agree with you that when I'm at that place where I need to be in a process, need to be focused, need to do exactly what we're talking about, then it becomes okay, an agreement. I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, nutrition, that, meditate. Now I've got this period of time, and what can I get done in that period of time? That is, will this activity push the business further? Will these activities directly lead to the results I'm looking for? In those, got to be focused routines daily, have to be for whatever number of days it is, whether it's 3, 5, 6. That's vital for success, because when I was building things every day, I got on and we did Pomodoros for a certain number of hours. That was the routine. I was there every day from this time to this time. And I had to focus on, I need to get these courses done. I need to get these videos done. I need to get this up here. I needed to do that. That's focused. Then I move away from it. And then I play with something else. But I highly recommend it, and I'm in total agreement. And again, we're totally different, and everybody's different. Put 100 guys, gals in a room and say, what's your routine? Well, someone's going to be, well, I get up and I go hang on my boat for a couple hours, and I come in the afternoon and maybe I do something. To another, it's
Yeah,
your
I think that, like, for of all the people that I've listened to and have sat with, these are the things that I've learned. Like, that's where
yeah,
even 50-minute focus with Eben, how many years ago, that
yeah,
was the one thing I picked up from him. And then it was, they all did something that moved the business forward, no matter what the routine was in
yeah,
terms of other things in that morning. But those 3 hours, they were all doing something within, like, for at least an hour or 50 minutes, that was business focused and project focused, or whatever. But those 3 hours were like protected, and that's why I adopted it. I'm like, okay, well, if they do it, I'm going to kind of do that too. So with mine, if what I do, I wake up and I have my bulletproof and I read at least for 30 minutes, if not longer, an hour. I'm reading and highlighting and doing all that. And that's part of my process,
yeah.
right? But then I go and then I come up here and then I start doing work, like something that is, okay, what's the most important thing that I need to get done today? And whether that's part of a project or not is, I guess it's not really, it's
It's not
important.
relevant. It's
Yeah, it's
important.
not really relevant, but it's like, what's the most important thing that I need to get done today? And that's what I focus on for that first 50-minute focus. Then it doesn't mean that I'm doing it again the next hour and the next hour and the next hour, or whatever, or throughout the day. But at least I knocked it out. I knocked part of it out.
What do you say to those that say, well, I'm a night person?
Yeah. Okay. So what happens is, when you're a night person, it's like it's kind of, that's why I mentioned the circadian rhythm, which is, the more, like, you lose energy no matter what you say throughout the day.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the end of the day, you're burnt. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like like your phone, like wherever my phone is. If I keep using the phone all day long, the battery runs out, and that's
Right.
basically what what's happening here, like throughout the day. And that's why even when people go to bed, I think somebody said something about go to bed here, sort of, and going to bed late. You know, this is, that I love sleep, right? I have no trouble sleeping, but there are a lot of people who do have trouble sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know why they have trouble sleeping?
You can't turn it off.
Yeah, but I would argue that none of us can turn it off. And the reason they can't turn it off is because they're mentally exhausted, but they're not physically exhausted. So if you go to bed physically exhausted, like you might do yoga at 8 o'clock at night, and well, holy crap, my body is completely tired. How many times have you said that? Like you got, oh, yoga wiped me out today. Like I'm totally done, right? And if you go to bed and you're totally tired, you're going to sleep like a baby if your body is exhausted. But if your mind is exhausted, your body is still active. Your body's like, what's going on, man? I want to get up, right? So it's that whole thing where we mentally exhaust ourselves. That's why they say, well, I'm a night person. The only reason you're a night person is because you haven't done you haven't followed the circadian rhythm, and you've pushed yourself all day long, and you've mentally exhausted, but your body's not exhausted. So you think that you're a night person, but you're not. Unless, of course, you're that's you sleep until 12 o'clock every single day, and you wake up and that's the way you live.
No,
But
overall, Joey, the design was you wake up, you go out and you forage and you hunt, and then the sun goes down and you go rest.
yeah,
Then the body can regenerate and be ready to do it again. Yes, we've all probably stayed up late into the night finishing a project, a deadline, whatever it is. That's never the best part. I think what I'm hearing you say is those 3 hours in the morning become the most guarded, protected, valuable hours that get used to execute the single most important tasks that will move the needle forward, make money, get the thing launched, get the whatever the
yeah,
thing is that I've mentioned Kevin Hogan in his wealth accumulation system. He says, is what you're doing in those periods of time going to move you to where you need to be?
exactly. That's the
And like
point.
you said, checking email and Facebook and your phone, that ain't going to do it.
No. And then that also ignites the monkey brain, which
Yep.
is then you wonder why all day you're like this. Like, why was I checking Facebook when I said I'm going to work on Atlas today? And
Right.
then immediately I went to go check, uh, email. And I'm admitting this. I'm the guy who's telling other people how to do productivity. And it's happening to me because I'm writing the dang thing down. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why did I just go open Facebook? Right.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to check the tribe and say, hey, how's the tribe going?
Yeah.
While Keynote was opening, like that's crazy, and that's showing you that my monkey brain has been activated today. So that's going, okay, well, I can't do that. What activated that thing?
A
Whereas if
very
I
wise fellow shared a quote from a book about the British 8-man rowing team. And they had never since 1912 won anything. And then the new coach, Dan, whatever, said, we're going to win gold at the Olympics in 2 years. And basically, it was, will this make the boat go faster?
right,
And they got up at 5:30 in the morning to run in the rain. And the question was, will it make the boat go faster? Uh-huh. Hey, we just had a great day working out. Let's go to the pub and have some ale with our mates. Will that make the boat go faster?
right,
No.
right.
Will this make the business go faster? And
That's
I've
right.
adopted that and I've been sharing it, Joey, with
Awesome.
people. And they just, like I was on with a gal who does challenges and is like, physical therapy, sports, that, and helping women to exercise safely and blah, blah. And I said that to her and she goes, I'm going to write that down and use it. I was on another gal and she's like, I'm going to use that. And I'm using it in this new challenge that we're creating to be like, will this help with people sculpting, defining, and strengthening their abs? And if the answer is no, well, you shouldn't eat it or you shouldn't do it. The same thing here is checking my email going to help me move my company forward and sell this thing or finish this thing or get the thing going? No, then don't do it. I love that which book was that from, Joey?
From which are you
Well,
relating to?
I mean, obviously the story is the story, but didn't it get mentioned in a book?
Uh
It's okay.
yeah, it
It
might have been mentioned. It might have been mentioned in a couple of books, but
doesn't
yeah, the
matter. It's
story.
50 points for me because you didn't remember.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can't remember now.
No. But it really, Joey, coming back to the basic foundation of this, if you're going to be successful, then you need to have these daily success routines. And the biggest one is taking advantage of the most powerful time in the day for you. Because again, after lunch, you've eaten, your body's a little lethargic because it's spending time digesting and it's not fully. You get up and you have your healthy breakfast and clean food, your brain's ready to go and you exhausted the way you're talking about monkey brain, lizard brain, ADHD untreated brain, and oh, I got to check Facebook and I got to see what's going on YouTube. I got to check this email and see if anyone's this. I mean, I could do that all day
I
with,
know.
we all could.
Yep.
And it becomes, I think, important, like right now, today, for anybody watching the replay or live here, coming to you live from Strategic Marketing Club, home of Joey Ragona and all the cool things he does, that you commit to saying, okay, tomorrow, between the hours of 9 and 12, or whatever it is for you, 9 to 12, I'm going to focus one of those hours. Let's not say all three. I'm going to focus one of those for 50 minutes on what's it going to take to move my business forward. And then on Thursday, do the same thing. Take one of those hours, 50 minutes, and focus on one thing to move your business forward. What's going to happen if you have that success routine in place for, let's say, a month? What do you think would happen to your business?
Yeah, it's going to move the needle for sure. But I want to stress that for my belief is that it's the willpower that you have. Everybody has it. Everybody has willpower when they wake up. And this one is from the Powerful Engagement. Okay? And that was where I first read that one, which is they studied all these athletes and all this other stuff and what they were doing and why their morning routine was the way it was because and for whatever they were doing, whether it was working out or whatever, right? And it was because their circadian rhythm is happening, they're sleeping, they're getting up, but we have the most willpower in the morning, period. And as soon as you lose willpower, you're done. So they harnessed those first hours of the day to do the hardest things that they needed to do or the most focused things or whatever because we don't want to do them. Like, building your business, there's no magic button, as you and I have been talking for 2 years about, right? We have to do the hard things, and we don't want to do the hard things, so we push it away. And like, I'll just do something right now that's kind of easy.
Yeah.
'Cause I just woke up. I'm still having my coffee, whatever. I'll
Yeah.
do it later. It never gets done.
No.
So you get up, and that's why the routine is so important. Where you don't have to get right into the work, but do something that enlightens you, that you're happy about. But then do at least a chunk of something that is again going to make the boat go faster, right? And then if you don't do anything at all focused throughout the day, at least you did one focus for at least 50 minutes, and that's the routine: is utilizing and harnessing the willpower that you wake up with, because you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And I think my very first coach said something to the degree of, if you don't use the willpower in the morning, you're screwed, or something like that. He said it like that. And it stuck in my brain because you can't get it back that day. You have to wait until the next day to get willpower again. Do you agree?
I totally agree. I know that when I need to do things and I really want to be productive, it's that I schedule Pomodoros for 9 o'clock to noon. Why? Because that's when I have the willpower to do it and the best focus. And overall, everything is at its prime at that period of time. When it's
Yeah.
noon and the sun's midway in the sky and it's already starting to set now, and it's like, okay, it's time to get ready to slow down. And
Yeah.
the rhythms of the body and the earth are, well, oh, I could stay up all night. Yeah, you can. And be a total mess the next morning.
Yeah. Let me hit some of these because there's amazing comments here. Kay says her daily is Qigong and getting focused on the biz level, serving my Facebook and IG communities early in the day when my clarity and insight is the strongest. Cool. Narcissa, what do you got to say here? I can relate. I have so much energy in the morning that by 2 p.m. my energy begins to decrease. That's normal for everybody. You know, the again, this comes from the power of engagement, powerful engagement. If you read that book, where they talk about focus sessions. I think that's where Evan got it from first. But I'm still going to credit Evan because he's the one who told me about the 50-minute focus sessions first. But in there, they say the longest your brain can go is 90 minutes. No longer than that. And you might still be able to do it sitting at the computer, but you're no longer focused and you're no longer productive. So your brain needs a rest after 90 minutes. And if you're going 90 minutes, it's going to be at least 10 minutes, if not 20 minutes, to separate and recharge the brain. And
Yeah.
that's part of what they figured out with the athletes, that they were doing these sessions 90 minutes on, or like 50 minutes on, and then 20 minutes off doing something else or watching TV or whatever they were doing. And then they would be way more productive and way more, get to where they needed to be, all because they were doing these focus sessions.
You don't let me, when we do Pomodoros and we get to 50 minutes, I'm like, okay, bro, how'd you do? Let's go. And you're like, you need that. I've done longer. I think once you get past 60, at least from my experience of doing hundreds and hundreds of them, is after that 50, 55 minutes, the brain's got to be like, let me get away for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Away for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you said it, like I practice what I preach. I'm not just saying it for the good of saying it. Like we've done them together. And like you said, I'm like, bro, like we need 10 minutes here. We can't just go back to back. Right. Just let's reset for a second. Where is it here? Petra. The dopamine reward you get for maintaining your routine sets your brain up for focus and thus for productivity. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. When you see something moving forward, and that's, even with Tony Robbins, learning that one when I was, I don't know, 16 or 17, with just chunking, just remembering him saying, chunk it down, and I've never forgotten that. And I've been doing it ever since. And when I get into oh my God, I got to go do the bookkeeping or something like that. And then I don't want to do it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm only going to do it for the 50 minutes. And then to Petra's point, I do the 50 minutes and look back and go, wow, I actually got a lot of stuff done here. I'm going to go for another hour on this. Right. And it just sets you up.
You've probably read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron at some point.
No, I have not read that.
Basic premise is, I read it on a cruise ship, 25 years ago. And it's called Morning Pages. And it was about the creative process of writing.
Yeah.
And her whole thing was, you pick a time in the morning and you sit down at that particular point in time every day and you start writing. And whether it's on a computer or a legal pad or however you write, you start writing. And this is about writer's block and blank screen syndrome. You write and it doesn't matter. You just write and you say, I don't know what to write this morning. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to write and it's not coming to me. That's training the brain. That's a process. And then all of a sudden it just starts to flow instead of, that's a routine.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's a success routine. That's also free writing, which is like, I don't really know what I'm going to write here. I'll just sit here and type. My fingers are blue, whatever. Like, you just start typing.
Yeah.
That's all routine. That's what I'm talking about. So you set yourself up to, like, this is what I'm going to do every day. That's why it's so important, Scott.
Oh, totally. And then I think there's also activity-specific routines.
Yes, you're right. Guaranteed. No argument.
You and I write copy differently.
Yes.
You know that I've got my routine and then I'll go to a restaurant. This is one of my routines. Within that, knowing if I'm here, it's too easy for me to do too much stuff. I know if I'm in a restaurant, I only want to do what I need to do and leave. It's kind of like, you've heard about people that go to write a book and they go to kind of like a great hotel.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't really want to be here, so I'm going to get this done. And so I'll go, and my goal is, with all my copy sitting on the table, get it to a point, and I'm like, good, I'll have a salad, and it'll take me an hour, hour and a half, and then I'm good. I can move to the next step. That's a routine within a routine of success. Again, reaffirming and confirming that willpower morning time to tomorrow say, okay, what am I going to do in that period of time that will make the boat go faster?
Yeah. And what are your daily routines? If anybody wants to share them uh, with us, that would be awesome.
Daily
Where
business success routines.
business success routines that lead well, yeah, that leads to business success routines, and that can still be part of working out and yoga and all that is part of it. Like if you do that, that's part of your success routine. But what do you do? So, circadian rhythms can also vary with each person. Like my brother, who's a musician, he lives for the night hours. But that's what I'm saying. Okay, I used to be a night person as well.
Right.
Like I was on the radio from 12 a.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning. So my whole rhythm was totally messed up. But I would sleep until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's completely different.
It was the
I get it.
same. It was the same, I think, Joey, for you, because your whole pattern changed. You woke up, and for those 8 hours, you were productive for the first
Right.
day. And then and then you slept. It was the same rhythm, just not within the natural rhythm of the Earth and the universe, which
Right.
runs up down that. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I remember waking up at 12, like you said, and I would eat, and then I would work and do my stuff until about 6 or 7, and then I would have, dinner or whatever you want to call it, and then I would sleep again, and then it would be up to my wife. God, thank God for my wife. I'd be like, wake me up in a couple of hours because I need to get to the station. So between whatever it was, 8 o'clock and maybe 10, I would sleep
Yeah.
to recharge and be ready to go on air at it was not 12 o'clock, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, for like at 1 a.m. in the morning.
By the way, Will It Make the Boat Go Faster is the name of the book.
Oh, there is a book called that?
Ben Hunt Davis, who is the coach, wrote the book, Will It Make the Boat Go Faster?
Yeah, that wasn't the book that where I was referenced.
I know, you found it from somewhere else.
It was just a
Joey,
story.
it's called Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? Olympic Winning Strategies.
Awesome.
Name of the book. Joey, what would you, teen says, have to write in the morning, read in phones midday, and social media later? That's a great success routine.
There you go.
What would you suggest for somebody that doesn't have a success routine in place? That's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get up and kind of like me. I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing now. And I'll check my Facebook later, whatever. I'll check the email later. I'll work on this stuff. I'll communicate with people. I'll do what I have to do. I'll take care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of, blah, blah, blah. How do you get out of that?
There's two options, and they both suck. One of them is what I'm doing like right one of them is what I'm doing
There's
now.
two options, and they both suck.
Yeah,
Listen to Joey.
How can I sugarcoat this? One of them, I think that everybody needs to do this, and my private clients will tell you this, but I'm telling you that time tracking is the most effective way for you to not only know where your time is going, but to figure out what your superpowers are, and to see how much of your superpowers you're actually using during the day. Okay, that's the first part of it. You've read Effective Executive, I assume, right? So way back then with Peter Drucker,
Yeah.
with what did he do? The very first thing he did with an executive was track your time for the first week, so I can see how we can be more productive, right? And so if it goes far as back as Peter Drucker, probably even further than that, then why shouldn't we do it? So then that would be the first thing I would tell everybody to do, because then if you look at it and you look, this one, my sheet starts at 9:30 in the morning, and I'm not up at 9 doing work at 9:30 anyway. But anyway, whatever your day is, and I'm like sitting here saying, okay, started reading, open Facebook, like, and you can start seeing, because on this one side, I don't know if you can see that side, it says interruptions.
Hold it up a little.
All right, see where it says interruptions, right? So I'm like, okay, what did I start doing, the task, and what are the results that I got from that? And then what are the interruptions? So the interruptions, if you're being honest with yourself, you're writing those down. So that's where you can see in the morning, holy crap, I'm just bouncing around here. So that's the first step. which it's painful because you got to do it every day. And these increments are 15-minute increments, Scott. Like, it's not just, oh, I'll just write it down, whatever.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes, you're like writing stuff down. Okay. And if you got this thing filled out that every 15 minutes you're doing something different, that is not a good thing.
No.
Right. So that's what I'm saying and you're like, well, that's a pain in the ass. Of course it's a pain in the ass, and that's why you do it.
It is.
Because then you can look back at it and say, all right, well, here's where, I kind of rocked. Like, if you got a block of whatever, an hour or something that you said, whatever you like, writing copy, and you rocked it for an hour, and you circle that, and you're like, because I love doing that. Well, then that's something that you need to be moving up into the morning routine
Yeah.
part. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one way of doing it. And the other way is just cold turkey, which is what I did first. Because I was doing this is later when I did the time stuff. I just went cold turkey, which is hard for a lot of people, just to go, all right, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm going to shut my phone off and all that stuff and just go nothing and just start doing something routinely every single day.
Why would you even have your phone on, is my question.
It's always on. It's just on. But it's not, I don't take it to bed. It's not in my bedroom. It's like it's there.
Is your ringer on all the time?
No.
Good. Okay.
And that was the other thing I did. So I came home from that mastermind with Eb, and I'll never forget it. That day, whenever I landed, was a Sunday or something, and I went into my email and I shut off the notifications. So I don't even have notifications on my desktop coming saying, you got an email, you got mail, you got mail. None of that happens. Not even on my phone. I don't get notifications of ding, 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 an email comes in. None of that. So it was cold turkey, and it was very difficult to do. But I promised myself, okay, in this first week, I'm going to do, like you said, the 50-minute focus every single day. And that's what I did. And then it ended up being into the 3-hour block of time in the day. That's how I
I think
started.
an important piece of what you've just talked about, Joey, also is as you begin the journey of the daily success routines, and you identify as you circle things and say, wow, I love doing this thing for 50 minutes, and it was exhilarating, and I got a lot done. You said then those start to get moved into the early morning pieces. You start to train your mind, to train the brain that says, oh, it's 9 or 10 o'clock. Shouldn't I be doing this superpower thingy that I like
Right.
doing? And
Yep. That's exactly right. Did I answer your question or not?
oh yeah, you always answer my questions, Joey.
Thanks.
There are no unanswered questions from 100 episodes. And then
uh,
it says, I had a much easier, more regular routine before C19 kept the whole family working, schooling in the house. Yep.
yeah, that's true. That could
And
mess the
that's
whole things up.
okay. That's true, Joey. And again, when entrepreneurs are doing their thing, there needs to be a protective barrier by everybody around them
Yep.
that says, hey, this is my time between these hours. Please respect it and guard it with your life, because that's kind of our, and Kevin Hogan again in his system talked about, we mentioned this once on episode who knows what number. It's not like we could say, oh yeah, we talked about that 2 weeks ago. Who knows? Is he would get everyone in the family together,
Yeah.
and even the friends of kids that would come over and say, look, here's the deal. This is what I'm doing. And everybody is in the boat. Everybody's on the team. There's no naysayers here. If you're a naysayer, then you kind of not need be in this household, because we all need that too. People that, oh boy, Scott's up to another one of his schemes again. What's he doing now?
Right. Right.
Okay, let's humor him. Well, Colonel Sanders, after I think 80 business failures, finally figured out Kentucky Fried Chicken. Well, I'm sure on 79, people were still like, geez, another one.
No, and what you bring up is a very important point because, when I learned about the 50 minutes coming home, and I'm in my home office. I've always had a home office, and the kids were smaller. Donna was around, and I was in the 50-minute focus, my headphones on, whatever. And so I was trying to not only train myself, but train anybody else to not
Yeah.
interrupt me. So if Donna would come to the, you know, to the office or open the door or something, the God of minutes type of thing. And I would put up my hand like this, right? Like this. And it would like, people looking at that going, talk to the hand. It would know, it would mean I'm in a 50. So I would be, if I see her at the corner of my eye, I'd be like, hold my hand up, and she'd know I'm in a 50, that at the end of that 50, I'll have 10 or 20 minutes, whatever, to break away and talk about whatever. Because here's another thing I learned, being in one of those high-end masterminds, which was very powerful, that there's rarely anything that's going to come up within less than an hour that you need to be distracted from, aside from a major freaking emergency.
Yeah.
So your phone is off and all these kind of things. And I remember, one dude had to get up, and for whatever reason it was a stupid reason, but did he ever get drilled when he came back in that room? Because it was like, well, I had to take the call. Who was it? I think it was from his family or something, but it wasn't, it was just a family
Yeah,
call,
it was, well, and that's why my
right?
phone has never been on, because I choose when I want to check my phone and
Right,
return calls, or not. Oh, the phone rang. The old days, we had phones on the wall. When it rang, you went and picked it up.
right.
You didn't sit there and let it ring. That was well before cell phones and answering machines. The phone rang and rang and rang and rang, and you would have to pick it up. Now it's like, why would I let somebody interrupt my time in my 50? And by the way, I'm in a 50.com is available for a penny. And
uh Thanks. Why would you say that live on the that should have been like a private little thing. Anyway, um but yeah, it sounds harsh, but it's like, okay, if you take that mentality of what I just said, that story, and you apply it to yourself, because you have to protect your time and your willpower, your 3 hours or whatever it is, your Pomodoro. And if you're not respecting your own time, why would anybody else respect it? Right. And I even remember doing talking about this to my very first group of private clients, where we would go to a mastermind and actually in a room, a hotel, for 10 or 12 hours of the day, right? And I remember one of them was a parent couple who would left their kids with a babysitter this one time, and she said, well, I need to keep my phone on because if anything goes down, right? And I'm like, no, you don't keep your phone on. You give the babysitter the hotel's phone, like, and if there's an emergency or something happens, they'll call the hotel and the hotel will come and knock on our door, and you'll know something's gone down. I
right,
don't need your phone to be buzzing or anything else, right?
yeah.
And you could look at it like that's a harsh thing to do, but no, but everybody had to respect everybody else's time, because what's going to happen, that phone is going to be buzzing on other stuff going on that's outside of, well, is that an emergency call, or is that your email dinging, right? It would distract everybody.
Well, Joey, you said a bunch of interesting things in that. And I'll start with the last one is respecting time. That's one of the major tenets that I fully believe is, that's why I like everything to be short, videos to be short. I want to respect people's time. If I can deliver something in a minute, why would I spend 15? Because you'll never get those, you know, time back. And respecting others' time, I think in this whole conversation, it's about learning to respect our time.
Sure it
And
is.
it's respecting and it's protecting our time during our most precious, productive willpower period, where our superpower can practice what it does. And I just kind of threw a few things together into like one thought is, we protect our own time so that our superpowers can evolve even deeper and more when we're implementing that superpower in that willpower optimal time in the day. Then all of a sudden it just creates this whole thing. It's like 10 o'clock, like the body goes, like noon pretty much every day for me is, I know I'm going into that room, and I'm
Right.
loving it. Same thing. If I needed to do that and get a project done, I do exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
And I would find that sweet spot, at let's 9:30, 10:30 and say, okay, the most important thing today that I need to get done is this.
Right.
I'm going to do it in there and let my superpower run wild.
Yep. I'm going to get back to a couple things here, but I want to hit some of these awesome comments. How do you get back on track when something inevitably pulls you out of routine? Uh, you just get back to it. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where I start the timer again. Like that timer is sitting on my toolbar thingy like right now. It's always there. So I know that if I get pulled away from something and I'm coming back, then it's all about discipline. There's no magic. I don't know unless Scott, you're the sorcerer here.
Well, yes, I am.
It's
Thank you for recognizing wizard,
it's
sorcerer, mystic, whatever you want to call it.
but it's a discipline, right?
Yeah, it's a discipline. And to answer Kay's question from my side of it, I go back to what you just showed us is okay, what do I got to get done tomorrow? How many Pomodoros will it take me to do it? Realistically, how many Pomodoro opportunities do I have in that day?
Yeah,
And if I know that it's going to take me 12, I'm going to second think. I'm going to find somebody, Joey, Nick, whoever. I'm going to say, I need to get this done. Let's Pomodoro for the next 3 days. And it gets you back into that routine. Both of those things is what do I got to get done? What's the most important? What's that chunk of the day? And start checking it off.
yeah. Narcissus time is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's amazing. If you're
That's
doing the
great.
same routine over and over again, that's amazing. That's what I'm talking about, like early in the morning. Unless you are
Joey, you
sleeping
could
at
give that a try one day.
6 a.m. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, the time tracker is very powerful. I give it a shot. It's so it's a pain in the butt, like I'm telling you, but you will be so happy you did it because here's the other thing that happens. Like today, like I'm just saying, today I was writing stuff down. You're seeing yourself get distracted, and while you're getting distracted, not after it happens. So it's like, let's say, for me, I like binge watching Netflix sometimes, whatever. Like that'll be I need a break, and then it'll be like
Yeah,
4.5 hours later, and I've watched how many episodes of Seinfeld, right? And I'm like, well, was that really good, or did that make the boat go faster? I don't know, right? But if I'm doing it, I'm going, okay, wait a second. It's now 7:47. Gonna go watch Netflix. And then I'm gonna go, wait a second. Should I really be doing that? Like, if you're honest with yourself and you're writing the stuff down, you're like, wait a minute, because then you can stop the pattern. That's the power of
right.
this, right?
Will this make the
Will
boat
this
go
make the boat go
faster?
faster?
It's so
Hey
simple.
Shannon, good to see you. Such great nuggets.
Shannon, welcome.
Shannon is such an old time friend. We've been like friends forever, and
How
she's
old is Shannon that you said?
my realtor who helped me buy some serious real estate. So she's amazing. Thank you for being here, Shannon, and thank you for the comments. Uh, Narcissa, cold turkey works too. And to be honest, cold turkey kicks in when I get irritated because what I had planned did not get done. I have a new routine now and can put my foot down. Yeah, cold
I like
turkey.
cold turkey with a little Thousand Island dressing on some
Yeah,
wheat veal bread with some sliced purple onions and maybe some roasted tomatoes. That's really good.
yeah. Uh, Narcissa Nelson, I'm getting there too. I said to myself, "What the heck? If that's not serious, give me time." That's amazing. Respect others and our time. Yeah, it all comes to like respecting yourself first. This is a big challenge for a lot of people because it's like, well, I can't be selfish if I'm thinking about myself first. But if you don't think about yourself first, you can't help others do any other stuff. It's so important to protect your time. And my family knows that. That's why I don't really talk in the morning. It's not because I don't love my family. It's because I just don't like talking in the morning. I just want
Right.
I want to protect my whatever. That's how I operate. And they all respect that. It's all good. So I don't need to get up to be like everybody else and go, okay, I'm a morning person now. Let me just go and kiss all the family and do all this kind of stuff because it was on TV from somebody else doing it. It's like that's how I operate. And then I'm better at night talking like now, never shutting up. um This is the new type of me time for me. My home used to be my family me time. Now this is also my office work. Yeah. It's that protection of work time for you, Netta, is where you got to create the balance. And I know it's hard because you've never done it before. It takes a little
Yeah.
bit of time. I totally get it. Um, but if you're always being pulled away from something, it's kind of like the multitasking myth. You can't multitask. You can switch task and think you're doing a lot of stuff, but you're not doing anything. You're bouncing from one thing to another. Meanwhile, the stuff's not getting done. So it's the same with this, where it's just if you started with just one 50-minute focus a day and just closed your door. Like I literally had a when I first started this, I think it was maybe from Kevin or somebody where there was a sign on the door
Yeah.
that said stop. Like so
Right.
if anybody would come to the door, it just said stop and they'd know I would be in a focus session. So you start with these little triggers to do that. I think it was that or somebody else because I even told Donna when she was working at the office.
Or it could have been from the movie Love Actually, where the young boy drummer like doesn't want anyone to come in. He's in love, and he puts a sign on his room, "Do not enter." Could have been from that
It's
too.
something like that. It's
Who knows?
but there was literally a sign to not come in. So that would help you, Netta, just start getting those boundaries in, and then they know that okay, she's in there for 50 minutes, and then now she's going to come out, and I'll have my mom for 2.5 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Take this one, Scott.
Kay says, when I do healing sessions, all devices go off, and I'm so protective of that time with the client. So I tend to do that outside of my client session time too, so I can use my time in the way I need to without interruptions. That's brilliant. And again, it's protecting your own time, turning off stuff, and just not succumbing to society's desire to control your time. That's where respecting time just gets deeper and deeper is when I'm doing my thing, just leave me alone. I don't want to be interrupted by anything because that's detrimental to everybody.
Yeah, the interruptions are a big thing, and like back to that mastermind story for both me watching it happen with one dude who actually got out of the room because I remember even the coach saying, "Do you really have to take that call?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he went out and then oh my god, just ripped them apart when he came back in. Because you really did you really need to do that? There's nothing that's that important that you'll ever have to leave
Right.
that can't wait for an hour, something like
Yeah.
that. That's what it was, right?
Yep.
And it's true. There's and I've never been in a situation, never in all of the masterminds I did for all of those years that anyone, not one time did ever that anything ever happened that we needed to that we couldn't shut our phones off for an hour.
I did hundreds of seminars and workshops, and it was the same way.
Yeah,
There was never, and I'm talking thousands and thousands of people, there was never once in the years where like there was an emergency and it was like, oh my God.
right.
Yes, it happens. Somebody's going to say, well, it happened to me. Okay, it does. That is like so far away. And the downside to everything and everybody when somebody's allowed to interrupt and that's where it's important to take to heart the interruptions that we allow to
Yeah,
happen that get in our way, not just the mental piece but the whole spiritual part of it
yeah,
is I'm allowing you to control my life
right.
by interrupting me when you ping or ding or ring or knock whatever, and that's got to be protected. The daily success routines are that's why they call daily success routines. You
And
want
the thing
to,
is too, Scott, one thing we didn't talk about is what's so important is that these things that you're doing are not things where at the end of the week you're going to look back and say, "Wow, I lost 10 pounds this week just because I didn't eat it. You know,
right.
I stopped eating a chocolate bar every day."
Yeah.
Like it's they're the success routines are put in place so you can do. And this is a whole other subject we'll talk about in another show because it'll take us in a whole other rabbit
We're
hole.
going to do another show, Joey.
Yeah, maybe we'll do 102 or something like that. But it's the small consistent things
Well,
that
I
make a
think,
difference.
Joey, where you were going when I rudely tried to interrupt you, I did interrupt you, but tried to throw you off track, was it's not going to happen at the end of the first week. You're not going to be like, holy cow, my life has changed forever. I worked with a gal, and it was 4 to 6 weeks that we got them into the program before something could make changes. Now, who knows if it's 30 days or 45 days, this number of days, but it ain't 5.
Yeah.
It takes a while to retrain the brain and create a habit. I've been
Yeah.
retraining my brain in that room for thousands of classes, thousands of hours, and I'm still going deeper into it. It's a never-ending thing, and especially when we're dealing with our superpowers, which is our cognition, our mental state, and it's got to be supported by everything else. And this is a really important discussion. I'm glad that you came up with it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for sending me the cliff notes in advance.
Yeah, all right. Everything we're reading from the script perfectly here. No, but even if I look back at the reading a book, when I wanted to read a book a week, it was watching. I got the idea from Brendan first because he was on stage, and I'm like, that's insane. Nobody can do that,
Right.
right? And then I set a goal for it, and I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to read a book a week? And it all started with, well, how do I read 5 pages today?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all it was.
It's building the muscle. It's muscle memory. Going back to when you start to do this, it builds muscle memory.
Right.
And we begin to remember that, as I said earlier, it's 10 o'clock. I should be doing this thing. The body starts to crave it.
Yes.
Because earlier was said, there's a dopamine release when you get into that flow and that zone, and the genius is visiting you, and you're like, wow, that was, you and I do it all the time. After it's like, holy cow, I can't believe what we got done.
It's so true. And you know what? You just brought up a really good point because going back to, me freaking out by violating my 3-hour thing, you just triggered something that I never really thought about before, which was one of the reasons is because my dopamine was taken away from me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm happy doing the morning routine thingy, reading and whatever, but then it's taken away from me. So I don't get that dopamine rush anymore, which now pisses me off. Right. And that's the whole thing. So you're absolutely right that the routine is about not only the success part of it, but it's giving you that dopamine rush. Like, this is amazing. I want to continue to do this. And that's what keeps you going. The willpower starts you, but then the dopamine keeps you going for at least another couple of hours, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was this one? No, we did that one. Okay.
We did that one.
Set your time. They must respect it. The family has to recognize what you need. Yep. You just start with little small increments because you don't need to go crazy all right away. When we are willing to create that sacred space of time uninterrupted, it's very healing on so many levels. Yeah.
Totally agree with that. It's just so important. Joey, I have a question. We've spent the majority of the program today talking about daily success routines as they relate to business. Where do you feel that other daily routines fit in that support the physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional piece of this?
That's all part of it, Scott. The spiritual part of it or whatever, the mental piece of it is still part of growing your business because years and years ago, I'm not the first one to say this, but I recognized that the business and the personal life are totally interconnected. And I know that sounds, well, duh, but a lot of people miss that. And I'll tell you why I say this, because they think it's separate. They're like, well, that's my business and this is my life. And I'll tell you why, because I was flying back from a mastermind with one of my colleagues, and we were talking away, and she was telling me a story about her life, okay, about her dating life. And I'll never forget this. And we're on the plane, or flying back. She's telling me about how she's having trouble trying to find the right guy, okay. And in the mastermind, throughout those 3 days, she had trouble trying to find the business that she was doing. So you know where I'm going with this, right? So I'm listening to this story of her personal life, and then all of a sudden it hit me. It was like, I go, hold on a second. I go, are you hearing yourself right now? I go, we just spent 3 days in there, and you can't decide on the right business that you're trying to do, and now you're telling me you can't find the right guy. And then I just go, do you see the relation here? And then we both started to cry for about 25 minutes.
Oh,
Just we just connected the two and go, holy crap,
Yeah.
I see what's going on.
Yeah.
So if that kind of answers your question, everything's related.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And I think, Joey, as entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs, it's something to get used to, because the old model of patterns is I have to go to work. And when I go to work, I'm at work. And when I come home, I come home. That's not what happens in the world of an entrepreneur who is building a dream life and a dream business with dream clients. It's all interrelated. You're right.
Yeah. So for you, you like yoga.
Yeah.
I like walking around the block. I love sleeping. So,
Yeah.
I love unplugging from my brain every day. So for me, it's a nap or power
Yeah.
naps or whatever it is. So is that moving the boat forward? Not really, because I'm not doing the business part of it, but it's doing my body good. It's
Well, but
doing my
see, I
brain good.
disagree. I think it is moving the boat
Well,
forward.
it is, but if you analyzed and said, well, you're not doing anything productive there, you're sleeping, right? But
Well,
that's what
you
we're
have
trying to
to
do is we're
get,
trying to connect that. Well, the
if you
reason,
get good sleep, night rest,
right?
then the boat will go faster. If you stay up all night,
Totally,
no, the boat ain't going to go faster. And
totally.
yeah, it's all one.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
that's part of
believe.
your routine. Like
Yeah,
you look forward to 12 o'clock to go,
yeah,
well, I need a break. I want to go in there and I love doing yoga so much. And you know what happens to your brain. You can unplug and all these things happen
yeah.
to you. So that's part of your
Oh yeah.
success routine.
That's the only place for me that 94.3% of the time I can turn this off.
Right.
You can't always, because there's times when I'll be in a posture going, wonder what I should do about this situation. Or I was like, where'd that come from? That has nothing to do with where you're at. That's kind of, in a way, your sheet. Because to me, that's my time. I'm selfish. That's self-love and self-care at that point. And we all need that. And being in that flow zone of willpower, that's kind of the same thing. That's your time.
Yeah, for sure. No, Narcissa, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and I would be so upset because I couldn't never really complete a book, but Audible and the book gave me life. There you go. You
There you
found a
go.
way around it. So
Yeah.
congrats. Way to do it. Spiritual, emotional, personal routines influence our core energy that we use in business. I totally agree. Totally agree. I was one of those people, Scott, where I believed that um, they were completely separate. Personal life and
Yeah.
business life was completely
Yeah.
separate, right? And that's where, as I started coaching a decade ago or whatever, where you kept on hearing the word balance. I want work life balance. And then that's why when I had that conversation with my colleague there, that's why we cried, because it was like there is no such thing. It's like they're all interrelated. If you're having trouble in your personal life, you're going to have trouble in your business because it's all related, but you just can't see the connection. And I realized that my job was, or my superpower was, seeing the connections in other people's lives going on outside of the thing that they were discussing, like the surface thing, or if it was business. I'm like, okay, well, can you tell me about what's going on over here?
Yeah.
And they're like, but that has nothing to do with it. I go, just tell me about that.
Yeah.
Right. And then connect it. And they're like, oh my God, I've never seen it from that point of view. And that's powerful. And that's why for you, the yoga is a huge piece of it.
Yep. Tremendous.
And going to, getting away. I agree. Like I change my environment all the time when I'm
Oh
copy
yeah.
writing as well, because it's like you have to get out of the
Yeah.
environment. At least that's part of the routine as well. But yeah, we are talking about like success routines. We'd love to hear from you if you're watching on the live hashtag live. I forgot to say that maybe, and hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. We are on episode number 101. Wow, I can't believe it. Tuesdays we are here, Marketing Made Easy, and we'd love for you to be here with us as we discuss all kinds of things: marketing, business, mindsets, productivity. In this case, we're talking about success routines, all that kind of stuff. And if you want
All of it to build a more effective, efficient, successful, heart-centered business
heart-centered peeps only, please.
with dream clients only.
I wrote something down this time because I knew I was going to go ADD and forget about it, but I wanted to ask you, like over the time that we're talking now about success routines and putting things into place, But I asked my private clients this yesterday. It was yesterday, whatever. Did you schedule, or have you ever thought of scheduling, or how? Let me ask it this way: how much thinking time do you schedule in, if at all?
I don't schedule it in.
Have you thought about that at all? Like, imagine if you thought about, I'm going to schedule 30 minutes of thinking time, 15 minutes of thinking time. What comes to your brain right now?
Oh, I like that because that's what I do. I don't schedule it, and it's an interesting idea to look at. That what if I did? What if I erased the whiteboard for 30 minutes and just created, or if I just sat and created, or if I did, yeah.
Like, it's again part of a success routine. I remember Dean Jackson one time. If you look it up, if you go to his Facebook, I think it's still there. He did, and he might have done it a few times, where he was doing 50-minute focus sessions live while you're on Facebook just with him, and he's just sitting there writing. He's not doing anything, just sitting there writing. And so the thinking time, the first thing that comes to my mind, and even with my clients, they would say the same thing: is, well, what do I do? Like, what do I think about? And the question or the answer is anything,
Anything.
right? And so, because we're so ingrained in, well, what am I doing this for? Like, why am I doing that? Right. And so that's one of the cold turkey things that I've now put in place for 2022 is, okay, part of the routine is thinking time for at least 15 minutes, and whatever comes. Like, it's not about anything. It's just,
How do
I'm going
you
to
do
think.
it, Joey? You do it sitting there? Do you write? Do you
No,
type?
it's yeah, no, it's part of, like, so I go in, in the morning, I go have my coffee, and I got a special place that I sit down and read. So I'll do it there. Like, it'll be in my special spot.
Well, what do you do if you're in your thinking time and all of a sudden ideas come up?
Oh, then I have my journal
Okay,
ready.
I just wanted to clarify that that's kind of the routine
Yeah.
is you're in a place different than your normal area or a place of comfort and relaxation or creativity, plants, this view, whatever. And for 15 minutes, you just thinking time.
Yeah, it's like there's no agenda except for thinking. And that's the hard part, I think, for entrepreneurs to understand, is like, well, what am I going to do? Why am I doing that? Right? At least that's for me. I'm always questioning, like, what am I going to get out of this?
Yeah,
And what am I thinking about? Well, the whole thing is, you could be thinking about, what am I supposed to be thinking about, right? Whatever, I don't care what it is. And so then you get into that habit, and eventually you open your brain up to just open up ideas, or even just brainstorm or journal. Because I've always had trouble with journaling for some reason. I just had, because I'm thinking so much of, like, what should I be journaling about? And it was only until somebody said, doesn't really matter, bro. Like, there's no thing to it. Just write,
right.
my daughter got me an awesome, journal thingy, the 2-minute journal thing, right?
Yep.
This thingy. So, and so I'm starting to do that again. And here's one thing that I talked to the group about. There's only 3 questions here. One is, I will let go of, and then you write down something. Okay. And then I'm grateful for, which, whatever. And then I will focus on, which is great. So I can do this no problem easily. Here's what I found after only 4 days. Okay. The first question, I will let go of, I have trouble.
Mhm.
And so it freaked me out. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to let go of? So I started beating myself up. I'm only 4 days in, right? And so I'm beating myself up, going, what am I going to let go of? What am I going to let go of? Right? And I'm trying to think of things to let go of. Then I thought, wait a minute, gap and gain, right? Look at the gain. What am I gaining out of this? Yeah, this is actually a good thing, because if I can't think of anything that I need to let go of, that's a freaking good thing.
Right.
That's a good place to be,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, no judgment, have a lot of shit they got to get out of, right? They got to let go of.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool. And that's why you do it. But for me, I'm like, what am I going to let go of? So I figured, okay, well, I'm just going to leave it blank, which, again, because I'm a framework dude, I'm like, well, I got to fill this in because the line is there. Right.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't have to do that. Because if I don't have to let go of anything, I'm in a pretty good place. What do you think about that?
Which part of it? I mean, you've
I don't know which part hits you the most, I guess.
well, what hits me the most is the things to let go of. I think we all have things to let go of, and I think in the beginning it's like I ain't got nothing to let go of. I'm all good. Let me move on to the other. I know what I'm grateful for. And what was the third one?
Oh, the third one in the book.
No, you said there's three things. What do I need to let go of? What am I grateful for? And then
And what I'll focus on.
okay, what do I focus on? The second two are easy.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
I've even had trouble with what am I grateful for?
Huh. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, you start out with the general stuff and family and blah blah blah, but then you can't keep writing that every day. Like it's like, okay, I'm grateful for this. I mean, you could repeat it every now and then, but eventually it's like, well, what am I grateful for today?
Yeah.
Right? And
Mhm.
so sometimes I have trouble with that, but I've also learned to let go of that and say, well, maybe that's part of what I have to let go
See,
of.
there you go. You let go of something.
Maybe
Yay!
I'll let go of trying to be perfect on the
You
grateful.
let go of trying to be perfect on the thing, and you let go of having to always have something to be grateful for.
But
There
that's
you
the
go.
thing. It's like
Progress, Joey.
it's a little, and this is part of a success routine.
Yeah.
Right? It's like waking up or going to sleep with the what am I going to do tomorrow? All these little things that you do are part of the success routine. I believe that is so powerful,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that this is helping everybody.
Me too.
Ooh, wait a minute, forgot one here.
Thinking time allows me to channel all that mental spinning stuff into a time frame.
So you do have thinking time, huh, Monica? That's amazing. That is really good. Do you do that every day? I'd like to know. And Lisa, too often my thinking time ends up being between 5 a.m. and 4 a.m. or 4 a.m. Um, is that because you are unrestful?
Kali says, my morning starts cleansing my mouth, tongue cleaning, meditation, Dura matter pumping, stretching, reading, writing, emails, and then onto dream client work. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tai Chi, and every night a 12 meridian yoga stretch before bed. Water throughout the day. Awesome.
Wow, that's
I'm in.
huge. That's huge. We'll add scheduled thinking time. Yeah.
Yay, Kali.
You're just starting thinking time. Yeah, it's
Nice.
cool. I got
Right.
way overwhelmed with the restlessness, mental stuff going on. There it is. Mental stuff going on. So a couple of days ago I decided to schedule time. It's not easy, bro. It's not easy to
No.
schedule that in and just sit there. But if you try for 15 minutes, I think everybody can do it. You just sit there and
Lizard brain doesn't want to do this stuff.
yeah.
Lizard brain says, leave me alone. Let me breathe, perform bodily functions, and do what I'm supposed to. Anything more than that requires me to expend energy.
Yeah. Or the monkey brain gets triggered.
Right.
The monkey brain
The
is
lizard
worse
brain
because
or
if you're
monkey.
sitting there, well, what
Yeah.
am I going to do?
Lizard brain's okay because you just veg out. Monkey brain's the one that's like, what?
Yeah, what's happening on Facebook? What am I missing? Or what are they? What's the news today? Just 15 minutes, let it go. Just that's it. It's the same as meditation, I guess, isn't it? It's like you meditate for a couple of 20 minutes or something. It's the same thing, except now you're awake, but you're actually just thinking.
Right. Yeah.
What a broadcast. Amazing. Thank you for being here. If you're on the live, if you're on the replay, let us know by hashtag replay. If you're watching this, let us know if you like this. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, or wherever it is that you're watching, whatever that thing is that says, hey, you're doing a good job. We'd appreciate it. So would all of the algorithms and all the magic the magic dudes behind the scene doing all the technical work. All those guys would love that. And we would like it too.
Satisfy the magic dudes behind the scene and the algorithms. It's all about the algorithms. And if we get the algorithm figured out, then we can get the funnel, we can get the sequences, we can get the automation, and we can go on the beach and do nothing.
Love you, man.
Love you, bro.
This is awesome. We will see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much. Cheers.